Chapter 15. Not that long, as it happens. One day I'd arranged to meet Phil and some of the people from the flat at a pool bar on Ponsonby Road. Of course, the streetwise badger was also a pool shark. A legend in my own mind. I'd been under Andrew's tutelage whilst passing time in mental hospital, but I wasn't a very good shot. I liked the game because it meant you got to hang around in pubs, drink a lot and look cool. So I'd been charging around town all morning, introducing myself to people waiting in bus shelters, bludgeoning cigarettes, and generally drawing attention to myself wherever I went. I had this great idea that all the people catching buses should tell the drivers that it was free bus day and refuse to pay their fares, so I was enthusiastically promoting my scheme by loudly proclaiming it to the queues getting on and off buses and encouraging them to join in. My sales pitch went something like this: "Woohoo! It's free bus day today. Get your driver to give you a free ride." To which I was getting a mixed reaction, anything from "way to go, sister," to the grumpy looks on the drivers' faces which said something like "yeah, right," and "yay, just what I need, some passenger anarchy before my shift's over." Having finished my important business of mobilising downtrodden public transport users, I charged on up to Ponsonby, walking at my new frenetic pace, pushing my skimpy frame as hard as I could to keep pace with my mind. I finally made it to Ponsonby Road and went upstairs to the pool bar. I sat down at a table with tall stools to wait for the others. I didn't have any money, so I was just drinking water. I'd been sitting there for a while, and all of a sudden I fell off my stool. Just fell off it. I'd blacked out, and when I came to, I was propped up against the wall behind the bar with some concerned-looking staff milling around me. Of course they thought I was drunk, but I wasn't. My body had simply started to reach the end of its limit. Somewhere in that time, maybe when the manager was checking me over and trying to find out where I'd come from and whether I had a home to go to, I realised that I couldn't wait for Phil and her friends any longer. There was just so much to do. I couldn't keep still, and I needed to head back to the flat to smoke some more dope. That would fix me, probably just what I needed, I surmised. I got out into the street and started to charge along the footpath, and bang! It happened again. I just fell over, fell to the ground. Had another blackout, and again awakened to find a bunch of strangers staring at me with "oh yay, another junkie" written all over their faces. This wasn't good, I thought. I must be going to die. I didn't know what was wrong, did not at all make the connection to the mental and physical burnout the mania was pushing me to. Better call an ambulance then. I raced to the nearest phone box, not having any coins and also considering myself to be in a life-threatening emergency. Naturally, I dialed 111. To the best of my recollection, the interchange went something like this: "Ambulance, please." Click, putting me through. "I need you to come and pick me up. I keep falling over," I tell the operator. "Is this a genuine emergency?" she asks. Oh, for goodness sake, what a stupid question. Of course it fucking is. I wouldn't be ringing you if it wasn't an emergency, would I? Are you on drugs? No, not at the moment. Can you just come and get me, please? Have you been drinking? Look, I could be fucking dying here. If I die, it'll be on your head. Where are you? She asks suspiciously. I'm on Ponsonby Road. I don't know where. By a phone box. You'll see me. I've got no hair. Do you know it's illegal to waste our time? For fuck's sake, just come and get me. What's the fucking matter with you? Click. Ah, bitch. Cut me off. Shit. I rang 111 at least 3 more times after that, swearing at them and trying to explain God knows what to the operators, completely infuriating them. They kept hanging up on me and I just kept ringing back. Luckily, instead of sending a police officer to arrest me, they eventually conceded defeat and agreed to send an ambulance to come and check me out. So the ambulance turned up, and probably wanting to avoid a scene in the middle of Ponsonby, the ambos agreed to drop me off at the hospital, where I waited and waited and waited. Manics don't really do waiting. We're much better at disruption and causing mayhem than we are at waiting. Somehow I was in a wheelchair, I don't know if the ambulance staff had put me in it or whether I'd found it myself, but it became an instrument of chaos at my command. I roared up and down the corridors in it, spinning around, fancying myself as a bit of a wheelchair basketballer, calling out to people and generally pissing everybody off. Then I'd go back to the front desk yet again, asking repeatedly whether anyone was ever going to see me, or did I just have to die out here in the waiting rooms. As degenerate as I looked, I certainly had the energy of someone who was very much not dying, and I guess they could see that and prioritised accordingly. Finally, I was ushered into the doctor's office, mainly to shut me up, I suspect. He checked me out. I don't recall what we talked about. Why he didn't refer me straight to the psychiatric services is one of life's great mysteries. I was a raving loony. There's no way a doctor should have missed that. I think even the cleaner would have noticed. However, Mannix can be quite convincing, if only for a brief period of time, and maybe I managed to appear saner than I actually was. So he discharged me to nowhere and gave me a copy of the yellow discharge form he'd filled in. He'd told me to go and see my GP when I got home and had written on the form, query AIDS. He told me to get a test done. AIDS? I certainly hadn't banked on that. That freaked me right out. Get me out of here, I thought, because that would really ruin my fun. So I went back to the front desk and asked them to take me home. What do you mean, take you home? Said the harassed receptionist. I'd been there for hours by now. They were totally sick of me. Well, how am I supposed to get home? I don't even know where I am. The taxi stand's out the front. You get a taxi like everyone else. But I've got no money. How am I supposed to pay for that? Not our problem. Goodbye. So I got back in my wheelchair and started hooning around the corridors again, shouting things like, they think I've got AIDS, but they won't even give me a lift home. What kind of health system is this? Knowing me, there would have been lots of colourful invective inserted into these statements, and the staff were getting really pissed off. They'd already tried to charge me $50 for the ambulance call-out, but had realised that was a totally fruitless endeavour after I'd sworn mightily at them about how fucking unbelievable it was that a dying person would have to pay for their own ambulance. It was news to me that user pays had extended to this, and I was not happy about it. The staff had finally reached the end of their tether. A big heavyweight security officer came up to me and thrust a piece of paper into my hand. It's a taxi chit. Now get out of here before I change my mind. Yay, finally. That was all I wanted.